hum felt weird. I didn't like the way that felt in my throat. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing all right, Ryan, and I just want to let the listeners know that they're listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, playing, injecting bleach directly into your veins podcast.
Look at Steve, the professional over here. I threw you a curveball and you recovered from it and you saved it. I didn't do our normal start and you still found a way to do it, Steve.
Well, I just had this whole plan, with the news that's going on today.
And you spun it into a political thing.
Yeah, I made it political. I just cost us 75% of our listeners.
You think it's that much? Jeez.
No.
And also, we're not supposed to inject bleach into our veins, Steve. That's moronic. We're supposed to inject it directly into our lungs. Durr.
Sorry. Yeah.
Haven't you been
listening
to
bleach? It's probably
to our glorious leader?
It's probably more like Lysol. He's probably talking about Lysol, right?
Yeah,
it's not bleach.
He's talking about hand sanitizer, like Purell.
Yeah. Well,
you don't have to inject it. Just put it in a snorkel and take a deep breath.
I don't even know why we're still talking about coronavirus. I mean, it's all a hoax.
Yeah, it's all made. They're just rebooting the birds, right? Putting new batteries in the birds.
Yeah.
All right.
This first pair of ads were sent by Kyle Booth and Tyler Estes. This first one is a Randy Rhoads polka dot flying V copy. This is like somebody in the group called it Randy Rhoads meets Buddy Guy.
I think it's just Randy Rhoads meets Randy Rhoads because this is like a visual reproduction of his early guitar. And it's got the Buddy Guy dots on there that I know predate Randy Rhoads' guitar, and he probably did it as some sort of tribute to Buddy Guy when he did it. But at a certain point, it became, I think, Randy Rhoads' look as well.
Okay, I didn't know that because I'm only familiar with like the Jackson RR.
Right. No, I think this is based off of his early one. I don't know if it's his earliest, but like I think this is like that's what started, like his signature models and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures now, and it's got that like crazy harpoon headstock.
Yeah, I have no idea what the story is behind his original one, but I'm sure it was custom built for him by somebody.
Yeah.
But the reason
it's even got like
I didn't know that
even got the inlays.
I didn't know that this was based on his original one when I first saw it. I had to look it up, and the reason I looked it up is because of the buck wild placement of that pickup selector switch. Did you see that yet? You'll find it.
Because of the way I'm scrolling through this, it's like, oh dang.
Yeah, there it is. It's up on the upper wing.
Is that where he had it?
Yeah, that's where he had it. I had to check and see what's going on here. And that's apparently where he had it. I watched a few videos to see if I could catch him using it. Because it's got a four knob, Les Paul style wiring thing going on, which makes me think he was using it as a kill switch. And that's just a crazy place for a kill switch. It's a crazy place for any switch. Yeah. Maybe he was switching with his elbow or something.
Well, a lot of the pictures I've always seen of Randy Rhoads, he holds the V very vertically. So, maybe it's just far enough out of the way that he was just whatever.
Maybe. Are you? I'm assuming you're not a Rhoads fan in any way. You don't care at all about Randy Rhoads.
I don't really know much about Randy Rhoads. I know he was in Black Sabbath at one point, right?
I don't think it was Black Sabbath. I think he was.
He was just
Ozzy.
in Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. Whenever I think of Randy Rhoads, I think of him as being the best part of that era of Ozzy Osbourne, which isn't really hard to do. Maybe there's people who are huge fans of that era, but I'm more of an early Sabbath guy if I listen to anything Ozzy at all. And so, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that era. But his guitar playing is amazing.
I've listened through Black Sabbath. I think, was it self-titled was their first album?
Oh, I don't know.
And otherwise, I don't know much of their catalog.
Yeah, I know the hits. You know, maybe we should do Black Sabbath on.
We probably should. I'd be down for
reviews.
that.
Yeah, I'd be down for that too.
At some point, I think I want you, and maybe you kind of already did that with like MC5 a little, but I want you to just pick like
something I like,
a favorite album.
Sure.
We can talk about.
Yeah, maybe I should pick that.
But that's for later this episode.
Yeah, I'll pick that before I forget next week. I'll pick something tonight or tomorrow for you. I've got a few things in mind that you might find interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need to find them interesting. I just want it to be something that you can wax poetic about for a while.
Oh, sure.
Or if I decide to shred it, you can be pissed off about it.
I'm not going to be pissed off. You know, I'm open to all kinds of opinions. So anyways, this got me thinking, and we got another ad at least of like a signature guitar. This is like I'm assuming like a cheap Chinese kind of knockoff of, you know, a tribute, because it's only $350. I mean, if you're going for this look,
right?
I mean, this is $350. You've got that look. There's probably no guarantee that this thing's going to play great at all at that price point. It probably did come off of, you know, DHgate or, you know, AliExpress or wherever these things come from. But we've got another guitar.
Are you saying this guitar came from China?
Again, making it political, Steve. What's with you tonight? We're going to lose 75% of our listeners, like you said earlier. So that's a signature guitar, or like a signature style guitar that I could see people wanting as like, oh, I want to have that look for my tribute band or whatever. Next up, we've got this guitar sent in by Tyler Estes. The Nickelback
$2,800.
Yeah, this one's $2,800 versus $350. This is a Nickelback signature Les Paul.
Yep.
This is bound to play considerably better than that Flying V. But
so the thing that a bunch of people in the group pointed out right away is, on the one hand, this is the Chad Kroeger.
Right.
You know, if you want a hero to save you, this is the guitar that you need. But the other side of it is on the. I mean,
I'm just sitting here looking at this photograph and just admiring the look of this guitar.
Yeah. Every time I see this guitar, all I can think about is how it reminds me of Nickelback.
You know, honestly, I was thinking when I look at this guitar, how it doesn't remind me of Nickelback. Like, I don't think that at all. I just think, oh, there's a guitar. Like, I was thinking, like, if I was shopping for Les Pauls, and if I was in a shop, and this one spoke to me, and I played it, and it just resonated with me, and I ended up buying it, I wouldn't have any idea that it was a Nickelback signature Les Paul until afterwards, and then I'd be like, oh well, I just like this guitar. Like, it's almost like a review of Nickelback itself, in that it's so kind of like nondescript in its appearance, and like it doesn't speak like, oh, here's an eccentric out there, you know, like ego-filled signature guitar. Like, oh, it's just a guitar with a finish. Oh, it happens to have like a really cool wiring schematic and hardware and stuff. But you wouldn't know that just by looking at it.
Oh, does it have like a different wiring thing going on?
Yeah, it's got a piezo.
It has a Graphtec bridge and a TRS jack to split that out. You know, Ryan, all I can think about with this guitar is if I was in the market for a really good looking Les Paul, then someday, somehow, I might buy this guitar, especially if I wanted to become a rock star.
Oh my goodness. He's going
But, you know, the fact that I'm not really, you know, that I've already got a Les Paul is really somehow saving me from spending a lot of money. That's all the Nickelback references I think I can make.
You did it, Steve. You did it.
I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore.
I don't know if you can hear the soundboard when I do things.
I can't. I actually, every time you do the opening song, I just wait for you to do hum.
So
I can't hear anything else.
I just gave you a little bit of applause.
I feel like
there.
there's got to be. I feel like there's got to be some kind of setting in the Rodecaster that's gonna
probably
will send those
Yeah,
through,
probably.
but it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, I'll try to figure that out.
This is a really good looking guitar.
It is. It's a great looking Les Paul. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the appearance of it. It's a little bit more subdued for my taste, but it definitely it kind of looks the way Nickelback sounds, just kind of gray and desaturated.
Right.
Kind of gloomy, you know? But yeah, like I said, I mean, if it played well and it resonated with me, I would, even if I knew that this was a Nickelback guitar, I'd still buy it. I'd be like, yeah, okay. And it kind of got me thinking, that Randy Rhoads guitar, if you get that, it's always going to be a Randy Rhoads guitar, no matter how famous you get playing it.
Yeah.
If you bought this and played it and became famous, it could become like it could be that you're known for the guitar versus Chad Kroeger. Just because people don't look at it and think Chad Kroeger. If you became a big flamboyant famous rock star and this was a guitar you played all the time, people would be like, "Oh, that's the Steve Rao."
I'm just, I don't know. I just can't get off the politics this episode.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll dive into this more actually in a few minutes maybe, but so on the one hand, the thing that's weird about this is Nickelback, especially Chad Kroeger, has always been a PRS boy as far as I knew. And I guess I'm finding some pictures of him playing Explorers. I just remember early on them being PRS guys.
I think that was just the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone.
Yeah.
But then the other side of that is, this is one of these things where when Fender announced, and I don't know if we've really seen it, but Fender announced that they were going to put out a bunch of they were going to diversify their artist lineup, and that some magazine generated a list of potential candidates for women in rock music who could be signature guitarists, Julian Baker and Phoebe Bridgers and I forget who else. There's I remember there was a woman who's really well known for playing a Jaguar, or Jagmaster or something. And I think Courtney Barnett, who we talked about a few weeks ago, was on that list, right?
Yeah, she was great.
All these different women. And I remember reading this thread, and there's all these people who are oh, freaking Fender, and making these signature guitars for these women who aren't even really that good at guitar. This is just a political move, and they're just trying to make money and whatever. Dude, freaking Nickelback.
What's the point you're trying to make? Is that they got one and these
this is textbook
he has a signature because he's famous, which is the way signatures work. They're not these companies aren't waiting for the secret best player in the world to show up and be like, I can play so good, and they're like, well, then you get a signature. They're waiting for famous people to want guitars, and it's oh, here's your signature, because fame gets an audience, and audience is marketing. Like it or not, Nickelback has a humongous audience. It's a no-brainer. It just is. If anyone wants to complain about any woman being selected for a signature model, they should say, well, she's not really famous. And then it's well, do you really care that much? And what kind of dick are you for making that argument? And then what's your yardstick for figuring out fame? Because we know how the boomers are. The boomers will I've never heard of her. I've only heard of the members of Who and Jimi Hendrix. And it's it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they also don't think of freaking Chad Kroeger either.
Right.
I mean, they probably also don't think of Jack White or John Mayer or whatever. John Mayer, that's women's music.
We have another signature guitar in the Google Drive folder that we could talk about too. Make this a triple right out the intro. There's a Rare Collector's Ibanez Jim 20th anniversary.
Oh yeah,
made out of acrylic for $7,500. And that's another one where it's you play that and people are always going to think of Steve Vai while you're playing it. It's never going to be your signature guitar, which is really the point I was trying to make with the Nickelback one. It could be anyone's. It just happens to be the guitar that he commissioned to his specs, and anyone could grab that guitar, and I don't think anyone would notice. But you play this, and people are like, "Oh, you're a Vai fan."
Yeah, this one was sent by Jacob Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what you wrote, but maybe it's Jacob and you can't spell. I don't know.
It might be. I might have been holding my 1-year-old on my lap when I was typing this stuff out today.
Okay, sure.
It's a true story.
I remember when these came out because I remember them being glow in the dark, and I always thought that was super cool.
They're not glow in the dark.
Or
they have an LED.
Are they not glow in the dark? They just have a lot. They have an LED. That's right. But it's like, I always remember that being like a really cool idea.
Yeah. Oh,
like we're gonna put an LED inside of here.
I've always wanted an acrylic guitar just to load it up with a light show. You can see the LED if you find the picture of the spring cavity. There's like this round LED right behind the springs, with like
there it is.
Eight LEDs mounted to it.
Yeah. I could put that in my one of my outlets here at home and light my living room.
Yeah. So here's my question, Steve. With all three of these, would you rather have a signature guitar that looks to be the part of like one of your heroes, no matter the cost? Like if it's the $350, import knockoff, or a $7,500 Ibanez gem, or would you rather have a guitar of a well-known musician that you're not a fan of, like you're totally not a fan, like you're anti-fan of them, you hate them, but you really like the instrument?
Man, that's a tough one. I think with the Nickelback guitar, it's so generic that if I picked it up and I played it, I might be able to get over it. And I kind of feel that way, like, though the cost, like I always wonder if the cost is really justified. The Billy Joe Armstrong Les Paul Juniors. Like I don't have anything against Billy Joe Armstrong, except, I thought it was hilarious that American Idiot was to kind of like about how much like
consumerism sucks.
White collar. How much consumerism sucks on an album that was bought primarily by like the adolescent offspring of white collar class Americans, but whatever.
Steve is all charged up this episode.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. But like that was another one where I was like, man, that's a really good looking guitar. But anyone who recognizes it and goes like, oh yeah, you a Green Day fan? I'm just gonna be like, no, man, I just think this is a sick guitar.
Yeah.
And like, the flip side of that is like I got a Jag Stang because it was cheap.
Yeah, if any one of us should have the Jag Stang, it probably should be me.
Yeah.
But then, like, I've thought about getting a Jag Stang, but then, like, the thought of people being like, "Oh, big Nirvana fan," like, feels kind of icky to me. Like,
right.
I don't really want to have signature gear of like my favorite guitars. Like when I was at Thomann and I played the Dick Dale Strat, like that was cool, but it's like I don't actually like. I want it, but I don't actually want it for me. I want it so I can hang it on the wall and be like, there it is. I don't want to like play out with it and have people make that comparison. That would be weird to me. Like it feels icky to me for some reason. But some people loved that. They want to own the guitar of their heroes, and I've got that Harley Benton Brian May thing, and I'm not even like a big Queen fan. I can't play or haven't even tried to play any Brian May stuff, but I like that guitar. I like that guitar a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, Steve, we killed this.
Any like, I don't know if there's any signature instruments that like I'm really like, I want that because of the player,
Yeah, right. You want one of those flea basses, one of those like,
oh my god,
neon pink ones. You just love that flea stuff. That
I don't even know how to slap.
You love that slap-it-a. Bampa Bomb, Bamba, California. That's how you live your life.
Alabama, California?
What's new, Steve?
I am using, so hopefully the audio quality is a little better tonight, but probably not because I'm probably smacking my gums too much.
Just don't slurp and burp this time, Steve. Last time I had to do a lot of editing to get all your mouth noises out. My mouth noises too, to be fair, but our mouth noises. We were too close to our mics or too far. I don't know. I don't know how mics work. We've been doing this for 6 years. I don't know. It's all a mystery to me.
I've got the Rode PSA-1 mic stand. It's connected to my desk. It's really cool and really clean, and now I feel like a real podcaster, a real remote from home podcaster.
Yeah. Did you end up getting that other one?
I have them both. I have two. I opened the one from Sweetwater. So what happened is, I think the night that I was charged with the Sweetwater order, I also was like a few beers deep when that charge came through. And so
gosh.
it said like PayPal minus whatever. And I read that minus as a refund. So I was like, oh man, Sweetwater's not going to ship. What a bummer. They just refunded me. So I immediately went and purchased it on Amazon, but the seller I purchased it from on Amazon wasn't Prime. The next day, like during the daytime hours, my Sweetwater rep emails me and was like, congratulations on we finally shipped your order. Your order survived coronavirus and we're going to finally get this to you. So the Amazon one came in. I was like, well, I'll just return it because it's Amazon and that's easy. But the Amazon seller, because it wasn't Prime, was like, yeah, I'm going to charge you a 20% restocking fee and you're going to have to pay for shipping. So it's going to be like $35 to send this thing back, like when everything's said and done. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. So now I have two of these stands. And one of them, again, it's connected to my desk. And the other one, RJ from Teletalks, keeps telling me that I should just rig it up on my desk and put like figure out a way to connect an iPhone holder to it, or
maybe.
just I don't know, use it as like a camera stand. But the problem is I'm in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like I don't really want a background that's freaking my bed where I do my business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's where you pay your bills and taxes and stuff like that, and you do paperwork.
Exactly.
Your
Most of
business.
the time it's covered with bills and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
no one
yeah.
wants to see that.
Yeah, your business. Yeah. Well, I was thinking if we ever get to something resembling the before times, when you're back over here, we should see if they work for regular mic stands, and maybe,
I'm sure they do.
Maybe they'll work out for us better than these super long boom arms that we always have to adjust over here.
Yeah. These both came with 5/8 inch adapters, so they are usable for like my mic, which has a 3/8 inch screw. But it also the 5/8 allows it to work with like standard microphones.
Yeah, it should
like
work
standard
then.
clips. So it should not be a problem. The other thing I have that's new is I'm trying to buy a bass.
What?
It's a Gibson EB bass, the early 2010s version.
You're really gonna buy that thing?
Well, I sent a message to the dude because I sat on this for like the guy listed it like a while ago, like a couple weeks ago, and then I saw it. And then I like sat on it. And I was like, well, maybe if I wait longer, the price will come down, even though the price is already killer. And I just was like waiting. And then finally, like I think it was yesterday, I was like, oh, I should just message him, be like, hey, I really like it. What's your availability? Da-da-da-da. And he's like, all right, cool. I got somebody coming on Friday. I was like, dang it. He's like, I'll let you know if they flake. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, I don't mind waiting. Like that's super respectable. But like, if you're in a crunch for money, I can come sooner.
There you go.
And he was like, yeah, he was just like, no, like I'm going to do like first in, first out. And that's fine. Like that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I told him, I was like, you know what? Like if you need the cash now, I can come now. If you don't, like, yeah, let's sell it to the first guy. Like that's your prerogative. Just, if you want to do it today.
I think it's funny that you want that bass because that is like the most Fender-ish Gibson bass I think I've ever seen in my life.
It's probably why I want it.
It's probably why you want it. I'll try to find a picture to pop up here so people can see what kind of bass we're talking about. But I looked at it and like, man, that is Gibson trying to be Fender so hard.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense.
It does have like the double humbucker thing, and I sat on it. I sent it to you. I sent it to RJ, and I sent it to Patrick Hunter because I figured like if anybody's gonna know if these are good, he would know.
Oh yeah.
Because like I figured he would have played one. I've actually never played one. I just like, and I remember when they first came out being like, this is just kind of weird looking, but
yeah.
But like I don't know. Like I was just on Facebook Marketplace looking at basses, and it came up, and I was like. Maybe it's because it's Sunburst, but I just felt like it was calling me.
Yeah. I mean, when I think
What's
of
new
you
with you,
holding a
Ryan?
bass, I think of that. I think of you holding that 5-string jazz bass you used to have. And I don't think you need a 5-string
sure.
anymore, but that was totally your look. Like a great
Yeah.
big sunburst bass is your look.
Well, the thing that I like about that Gibson like now is it's got kind of like a funky reverse offset thing going on.
It does. It's kind of jazz master-ish. It's wild. It's a wild bass.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's new with you, man?
I got a haircut and everyone is pissed off about it. So I hadn't had a haircut since like before Winter Nam. My hair grows kind of slow these days.
How have you gone without a haircut since before? I got a haircut at like the beginning of March, and I'm like feel like I'm gonna freaking Pedro myself any minute.
Whenever I get a haircut, I get it taken down really freaking short, and then it grows out like a couple inches, and then I'm ready. Like it takes.
I guess
I get like 4 haircuts a year, basically. So, anyways, I get this haircut, and then I publish a video with my new haircut, and like tons of people in the Premiere chat and in the comments are like, Oh, you got a haircut? Oh, where'd you get a haircut? Oh, you went out and got a haircut? How dare you? None of us can get haircuts. Where'd you get a haircut? Everyone's super pissed. I'm like, relax. Relax, everyone. My wife cuts my hair in the backyard and the hair like floats off with the breeze. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry. I'm not breaking quarantine to get a haircut. I swear everything's going to be okay.
I'm about 10 days away from texting Christina and be like, I will bring you beer. I will bring beer to Orange County if you cut my hair.
Now, if you show up on a video with a haircut, people know because you just confessed that you broke the rules and you went and got a haircut. Just have your wife cut your hair, dude.
Dude, that she's
just
afraid.
Bust out those kitchen scissors. Give it a shot. It took my wife a couple tries to get it right. Just go back to high school. Go back to high school, Steve, and do the buzz cut.
I know, right? Like I got a beard clipper in there, and I'm sitting there like I could just go vertical on the sides, like just straight up vertical on the. Honestly, I could just go straight up vertical on the sides and let's see what that looks like, and then just leave it alone. Just like what? I took the sides down to a 3 and left everything else alone.
We're a few weeks at most away from the Mad Max future that I've been teasing this entire podcast. 6 years of podcasting. I keep bringing up the Mad Max future. It's almost here. Just go full Mohawk, Steve. You're going to be wearing leather fetish gear in a couple weeks and riding on the back of a motorcycle with a spiked club in your teeth. Like, just lean into it.
It's
Mohawk time,
I'm already
Steve.
doing that. That's my my to and fro.
That's your carpool to work.
Yeah, that's my daily driver.
Let's figure out how to divide up the cut of the doors, Steve. Who's sponsoring this episode?
This week's episode, first sponsor is D'Addario, makers of the XT string.
I am holding your bass strings right here that might be going on your brand new bass if you can get those.
I need to get those. You're getting that freaking coronavirus all over my strings, huh?
Oh, yeah. I've just been like coughing and spitting on it. It's awesome. And I've also got a bunch of packs of my favorite strings, the XT's 11s and 10s. I've got 2 11s left and 5 10s left. I've been putting 11s on all my surfy, like heavy strung guitars. So I need to start putting those 10s on some things. I was thinking about restringing my SG soon. But anyways, if you're looking for strings, I recommend the crap out of these things. I really do love them. These XT strings. And they're a little bit pricier than your just run-of-the-mill string. They're not $5 or $6 or whatever. They're like 12 or 13, I think. But my experience with them is that they last multiple times longer than any other string. I had to cut them off of my Strat when I took my Strat apart, and it bummed me out because I had them on that Strat for like 3 months, and I'd been using that Strat quite a bit, and there was no corrosion on the Strat. The strings were still slick.
That still blows my mind.
And the strings still felt kind of like had that like slight oil slick to them, like they were brand new.
Yeah.
They still were like as twangy as the day I put them on there. I feel bad that I wasted a set of those strings by taking that guitar apart. So like, if you think about, if you go through strings quick and you have a bunch of guitars sitting out on stands like I do, I think it's a solid investment. You're investing in time. You're investing in string futures, you know?
Yeah, I really need to get a pair of XTs, and I'm thinking definitely at least 11s, maybe 12s to put on my Bullet, because that sits out all the time, and it's a super short scale.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the scale on it is, but I think it might be like 22 and a half or something.
That is short. Someone locally had a Bullet. Someone had a Bullet up locally on Craigslist or something. I was giving it the side eye. Yeah. We're talking about
it's a 20.
We're talking about the legit old Bullets, like the crazy cool ones.
Yeah, this is saying it's a 25-inch scale, but
it feels short to you, huh?
It feels short. Maybe it's just that the neck is so tiny.
Yeah, maybe.
But I just feel like that guitar is like, maybe I have 9s on it right now and I just don't realize it, but I feel like that guitar is just begging for a bigger string.
Sure. Well, anyways, thanks to Dario for sponsoring us yet again. When we get back into the normal times, or the normaler times, Steve will get his hands on these bass strings and try them on a bass, maybe his new bass, or maybe an old bass.
Yeah.
We'll find out. And, check out the links down below and support our sponsors, and tell them that you're thankful for sponsoring this content that you love by doing all sorts of stuff. Buy stuff, or go say thank you to them on social media. I don't know. Do stuff like that. You want to talk about the next topic, Steve?
Yeah, this topic was sent by Chris Pop Beerman. I want to know which part of that name is his real name. Maybe that's all his real name.
That's very insensitive, Steve. That is his real Christian name.
All right. Well, I mean, his name is Chris Pop Christian Beerman, so
yeah.
He says Daisy Rock guitars turned 20 this year. Was it a good idea to make guitars for girls, and why is gender-specific gear bullshit?
I'm trying to think, are there any, like, man-specific guitars? Or are all other guitars just kind of gender neutral? Like, I've never played a guitar that required me to interface my genitals with it.
Right. So I think, your general... your general electric guitar, it's like a lot of things, right? Like, the argument, I guess, is that because if you accept the premise that we live in a patriarchal, or at least a masculine leaning society, then everything revolves around men. So therefore, anything that's technically gender neutral is actually created with primarily with interest in selling to men, Well,
I think you could definitely make that case for the guitar industry, is that for the vast majority of it, like, it is aimed at men marketing wise.
Right.
But I think any guitar could be played by any gendered person. Like, I wanted some of those Daisy Rock guitars. Like, I kind of wanted one of the flower ones when they came out, just to be kind of like silly and ironic, and the kind of music I listen to. It would have fit with what I like to do. Like, get one of those flower ones, like paint it a funky color or something like that. I would have rocked that thing. I would have Daisy rocked it. I don't know. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with there being guitars that are themed for a very young female market like that, because that's what they were going for. They were going for like this tween thing in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I say, why not?
And
why not?
Originally these guitars were like developed and designed by like Schecter people. So like the original like series of Daisy Rock guitars were like decently built. My sister has a Ovation style Daisy Rock acoustic that I'm pretty sure she pulls out still every once in a while. She's had that thing for like over 10 years. That's the guitar she used to freaking blow up my crate amp. I had a little crate GFX 15. She took it to church, took that guitar, plugged into that, turned the amp all the way up to 10s, and freaking melted the preamp.
You have to admire that, though. Like,
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I didn't.
But
Hey,
they've
hey,
had
man! I didn't know your sister was cool.
They've had like a few models. Like you talk about the Heart guitars.
Yeah.
I always thought they're like the Rock Candy models, which was like their like soft Les Paul style.
I
always thought those looked really cool.
Yeah, with the heavy
they've got-
metal flake on them.
There is like a heavy metal flake version of it. There was also one that was like, I always thought would have been really cool. It was like the matte black, but then it had a nautical star on it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, I'm not down with the nautical star, but they've got one like their Elite Venus series.
Yeah, that nautical
as
star
well,
for
that's
sailors. I'm not a sailor.
Yeah, they had that they have like the elite model that's kind of like a Hamer
Yeah.
double cut style. Like they had some good looking guitars,
They do.
and the whole thing is like the necks were like really slim. Everything was like designed to be really small, but they were like kind of thick, slim necks.
And I think the
Some of
fact,
them are goofy, like
yeah, but I think the fact that this company's been around and persists for 20 years, I mean, means that there's a market for this. There's enough of a niche to keep it going. Like there's other guitar companies that are trying to hit a much wider market and aren't making it. So what does that
and I
say?
think the bigger thing here too is like beyond. Yeah, okay, it's a guitar, but the thing is, it's not even like that. This is, I mean, you can say this is gender driven, whatever, but like this is like.
I'd say it's more personality driven, and there's a certain personality that likes that aesthetic that tends to be female. But I think that look isn't necessarily female. Like there's a lot of women guitarists that look at that look and like, I don't want like a Lisa Frank guitar. I want like, a regular guitar. But there's a personality person who sees a Daisy Rock guitar and is like, hell yeah, I'm all in. Apparently, I'm that personality.
Guitar is this guitar. It's not even that Daisy Rock. They're not Daisy Rock women's guitars.
Right.
They're Daisy Rock girl guitars. You know.
Right.
Their market segment was, they were guitars that could be played by adults, sure, but like, man, I don't know. I think my sister was like 10 or something, or like 10 or 11 when she got hers.
Yeah.
This was very much like a brand that was like targeting like young, like, tweeny, what do they call them, like tweeners?
Yeah.
Early
teens, late tweens. It's such a specific
is that good or
market.
bad? Like it is a really specific market, but it was a market that like, from Fender, your only option was the mini Strat.
Right.
And the Daisy Rocks I've played, better than anything that Squier was offering in the same price range.
Well, those early ones were built by Schecter, and they felt like it. They felt like Schecters. If you've ever played a Schecter, you know what that feels like. I mean, it's a decent like $700 to $900 guitar sort of experience with Schecter. Yeah. And they came loaded with real like good hardware on them with Duncan design pickups in them. Like they were legit. They had real tuners on them. These weren't joke novelty guitars. They just had like a novelty look to them. But man, they were players.
Right.
They still are players. They're under different ownership now. They're not made by Schecter. But last time I picked one up, I was like, no, they're still good. Still a great guitar.
Yeah, I think for the most part, they've waned pretty hard over the last 5 or 10 years, like 5 years probably. But I feel like they're kind of like sunk back in. But there are like moments where I do like, if I think really hard about it, I'm like, do we have the Ernie Ball St. Vincent without Daisy Rock?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
But like I think that somebody had to be sitting around there going like, hey, this company was selling like all of these guitars to like 12-year-old girls 10 years ago, so they're all in their mid-20s now. How do we get them to buy like the adult version of their 12-year-old guitar?
And you know what? They had like a heart-shaped guitar, which seems like so girly and novelty and whatever. You know who else had a heart-shaped guitar? Man, Steve Vai had a heart-shaped guitar.
Oh, really?
He had this triple-necked heart-shaped guitar with one of the necks sticking off the back end of it, and he'd play it two-handed. Like his like.
But I mean, he has really long hair, right?
Oh yeah, so he must be a lady. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
you have to have long hair, then you can play a heart guitar.
That's who he's the one that Steve and Tyler was singing about, right?
Yeah.
Steve and Tyler was singing about Steve Vai.
Yeah, he saw the long hair, he saw the heart guitar. He's like, that dude appears to me to resemble a lady. And then he wrote a song. He shortened it down a little bit, but that was his first thought. Not everyone knows that.
Yeah. That gentleman over yonder resembles.
Yes.
You know, as far as whether or not it's good or bad, you know, it's definitely a gimmick. And there are moments where I'm like, gimmicks are dumb. I feel like when I was the age that I was when these came out, like I was a teenager, I feel like I probably thought they were dumb. But again, like I also remember like playing these guitars in stores and being like, oh man, like, and like you said, like the features were good. Like they weren't just selling like, oh, we're going to slap a couple of humbuckers on here. Like they were Duncan design humbuckers with coil splitting. Like they were very well built guitars.
And you think about the demographic they're trying to hit. Like we keep saying, young girls, like young ladies, tweens to early teens with, you know, like a novelty bent, with, you know, like a certain personality. It would be very easy to pitch stuff to that demographic that's just cheap crap, just novelty crap. But rather than doing that, this brand is putting stuff in their hands that isn't going to be a detriment to them as early guitarists. Like this stuff isn't going in the hands of people who have been playing guitar for 20 years. It's going to in the hands of people who are just now, you know, getting interested in playing guitar. Sure, they're going to have a random sale to some weirdo like me who's doing something ironically. But most of these guitars are going to go in the hands of someone who's probably buying their first guitar, and it's such a service to them that they're getting a guitar that is actually playable and is that they can actually grow into, you know?
The other thing I would say with all that too, with all of this is, it's both. I know we've mentioned like the connection to Schecter, but I kind of feel like it's both more and less of a gimmick when you are hanging the success of your entire brand on it.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it's like either this is a market that is going to.
It's not a gimmick, it's their brand.
Right. Versus like, you know, if Fender or Gibson or whatever rolled out a whole line of, and you know, you could argue that they did this with the Squier Venus series to somewhat of an extent, but you know, if that was all of a sudden they had this thing and it was like super bubblegum and whatever, you'd be like, well, this seems like a really odd marketing move.
Yeah, if Fender put out a guitar with like a Lisa Frank glittery pickguard and like a unicorn airbrushed on it and said, this is for girls. First of all, the girls would be like, how dare you? That's insulting. Second of all, a bunch of dudes like me, a bunch of weird dudes would probably buy it. But it would feel weird. But because this is the core of the whole brand, it's not a gimmick. It is their entire brand strategy. So it's like,
exactly.
It's not a cheap try at something. They're all in. They're all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm totally fine with it. I've never felt like I've never felt more secure in my support for Daisy Rock than I am right now in this conversation. Like when you read the topic prompt, I was like, yeah, maybe there's an angle here that this is bad. And the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, I'm like, no, this is good. This is right. Leave it alone. It's not for you. Don't complain about it. There's other guitars for you.
Yeah. If you don't like it, go buy something else.
Go buy that Nickelback guitar. It's doomy and gloomy.
Maybe that's for you.
Yeah, it's for you. You know. Let's get on to this next ad here, so we don't go all night.
Yeah,
long.
this next ad was sent by Ryan Bales. He says, thanks, I hate it. This is a Fender American Stratocaster with Gibson 57 Classic pickup, which, you know, the standard configuration for a humbucker equipped Stratocaster is what's known as the HSS.
Right. This is an SSH. Yes.
And I don't even hate the idea of an SSH. It's a little unusual. What I hate, and maybe this is what Ryan hates as well, I don't know, is the freaking pickup ring. Like, did you need that?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of like, if you're going to go all in, go all in. And I think they did it. I kind of like the look. I like that the pickup ring matches the, the parchment of the single coils and of the zebra bucker. Like, this person is not trying to hide what they did.
Colors.
I mean, you could have easily hidden this if you like it's easy to be like, oh, this is dumb because in a humbucker in the neck versus the output of a single in the bridge is going to be way off balance. But hey, if like the person who made this, they know their own set. They know, like, well, I've got all these songs that are Strat centric, but I have this one song where I need, a neck humbucker tone. Fine. Like, you did it. You built this thing. They could have easily concealed it by flipping that zebra around so the cream would have been closer to the neck, and doing a cutout of the black pickguard so that you wouldn't need the ring at all, and it would have looked from a distance like a normal Strat. But they didn't. They leaned into it. They flew their freak flag, and I'm proud of them. It's just going to be a really weird sale for someone to be like, yeah, I want to buy this. You there?
I am here. I'm just still trying to process this stupid guitar, man. I don't know, 950
for a
it
USA
looks like
Strat.
It comes with the. It looks like it. What's that? Yeah, 950 for an American Strat. It comes with the original pickup. It comes with all the original parts and whatever. Like,
it's not hard to reverse that. It's just a pickguard swap, and you have to rewire it, I guess.
And that pickup by itself is probably worth like a decent chunk.
Sure. It looks like a very handsome guitar. It's not abused or molested in any sort of way. It's just, I'm sure they had to route out some wood for that neck humbucker, but it's the Strat. It's supposed to sound kind of hollow,
Yeah.
No, I'm all for it.
I'm trying to think if I've ever played a neck humbucker Strat. I mean, I guess it's probably not. It can't be that much different than like a neck humbucker or anything else, right?
No. It's gonna feel imbalanced when you go from a bridge to the neck, and the output's way different. But I mean, if like say this person's like in a classic rock cover band. This song this guitar does Clapton most of the time. Well, then it also does Slash when you're playing some Guns N' Roses and you need to do, Paradise City on the neck humbucker. Like, I get it. What this is for. They could have done the same thing by throwing a hot rail in the neck, but I kind of like.
Right.
I like the boldness of this. I like the execution of it. I admire this. I don't know. I'm for it. You've made your case that you're not, but I am.
I just don't like the look, Otherwise,
you know what? Someone could get this.
Take it or leave it.
You know what would be kind of fun? Get this, take advantage of that extra routing, and throw like a really cool like P90 in the neck. Because then you're still doing a single coil, but you're getting a totally different flavor of single coil in the neck.
Yeah.
Like a humbucker size P90. That could be cool.
I got nothing else on this.
All right. Let's talk about our next sponsor. Let's figure out some more of the cut of the door.
Well, before we get to our next sponsor, we got another topic, dude.
Do we? I thought we were gonna do. I thought we were gonna do the
Oh,
sponsor
you know what?
before that.
I numbered it wrong. My bad.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
Steve.
our next sponsor. You got me. You got me, dude. Our next sponsor is Chase Bliss Audio. When did you publish the freaking blooper yet, man?
By the time this episode airs, it will have been up since Friday. I finished filming it today. I'm holding it right here, and I've still got all the pedals in front of me that I used in the video. I used all Chase Bliss pedals. I used the blooper, the Dark World, the Gravitas, the Warped Vinyl, and I even used the Brothers, which is kind of new to me. And I made some beautiful, beautiful sounds, some funky, weird sounds. That blooper is just a freaking trip, man. Every time I do a Chase Bliss demo, I gotta say, I work hard for that money. They are always tricky, but the blooper is extra special because there's so much ground to cover. I easily spent 2.5 to 3 days working on this demo.
Right.
Just because it deserves it, to pull back the curtain a little bit. I do charge for my demos, and it is worth it for me to do this stuff. But man, I do work extra hard for these Chase Bliss demos. I think I edited through a good 2.5 hours of footage to get my 40 minutes of footage for this demo. Because there's a lot to go through. That's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot. But man, I learned stuff on the way. I had a great time with this thing. I want to play with it more. It's like, you know how all Chase Bliss pedals kind of, they do their one core thing, and then they're all kind of a chorus too. Like this one's also a freaked out, granular, pitchy, just delay pedal. It can be a delay pedal, which is bonkers. It's too much fun. The blooper is too much fun, and I can't wait until we get to the after times and I can play live again, even if it's in the post-apocalypse. I can't wait for that Mad Max band where I'm strapped to the front of a gigantic vehicle, and I'm going to be using this looper. But man, I had a great time. I had a great time using all these Chase Bliss pedals together too. It's just a bunch of fun, especially the Brothers.
I love how you call it. I love how you call it the after times.
That's what we're all going to be calling
Ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
I need to do a dedicated video for the Brothers because it is pretty cool. I've been having a great time with that. So anyways, for pedals that are more creative than you are, from a company that's been supporting the content that you love. I mean, there's my PBS pitch right there. Go check out Chase Bliss Audio. Man, they make some cool stuff. They really do. There was a moment in the demo where I stopped and I looked at the camera and that's the moment where everyone who thinks that they're a Chase Bliss hater and they're, watching this for just to hate watch it is second guessing themselves and thinking, man, that actually does sound pretty cool. And oh man, they're going to check out the price of it because oh dang, that's kind of wild.
All right, hold on a second. Just you can keep it rolling, but before we move on to the next topic, I need to do something.
Okay, do it, Steve. Steve is gone apparently. Maybe having a bowel movement of some sort.
Oh, that's much better.
I don't want to know.
All right, I'm back.
Whatever it was, it was too quick for you to feel better now.
I don't know if that came across. I just took my pants off.
Oh, that's great.
It's a little warm in here. I try to do it as close to the microphone as possible.
It's steamy today, man. And it's got hot, and because the ground's still wet because it's spring, it just got humid and steamy.
Oh, dude, so we're still in the trailers at work, and we got the air conditioning is in my office. It's actually I hung a is the word lithograph when you buy a painting at a store, but it's not really a painting, it's just a print on canvas?
Sometimes that is a lithograph.
So maybe it's not, but it's some kind of it's a print on canvas, whatever you call that.
Sure.
And I when I moved from my office to this trailer, I didn't have anywhere I wasn't sure where I was going to put it. And then I realized my desk is right at the, where the thermostat is. So I just hang it off the thermostat. the thermostat controller. And so I'm basically the master of the heater and AC in my trailer. And, but we turned the AC on, except during one of the meetings, one of the people was doing their meeting on a speakerphone. So we had to turn the AC off. And after having the AC off for like 30 minutes, everybody was dying.
Now, because you are the controller of the AC, you have to have a nickname. You have to be Cool Guy Steve.
I was thinking that since it's heating up, that my
just change your name to AC. Hey everyone, call me AC. It stands for actually cool.
I was gonna make a rap joke, but then I realized I got the rap joke wrong.
Thank you for censoring yourself.
I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say that my nickname should be Snow, but then I realized that song is called, Informer, not Controller. There is a Drake song called Controller, which I think samples like some reggae track. But anyway,
you should call yourself Ice Steve.
What?
Ice Steve.
You broke up right when you said that. Ice Steve?
Yeah. Like iced tea, but Ice Steve.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Anyway, where are we? We're talking about this topic.
Let's talk about an
this
album,
topic
man.
is... I know, we're talking about this album. It's R.E.M's Automatic for the People. I don't remember... Sorry, Inner Circle. I feel like I let everybody down that I don't remember who submits what.
You start talking about it. I'll see if I can look that up.
Oh, weird. I was going to do the same thing. So Automatic for the People is considered like R.E.M's one of their best albums, which I'm kind of mixed about because I kind of feel like, do they really not have a better album than this? And I mean, like, because they just have like, I think it's just that their body of work is so broad and spans so many years that in my head, I just kept thinking like, oh, there's got to be an album that has like all of their best songs on it. Because most bands, right? Like, I would say it's unusual for a band to have like,
it was Beto.
One or two. What's that?
It was Beto Rodriguez that suggested the album.
Yeah, Beto. Cool. Very cool. So to this end, like their best album is called, or like a lot of people consider Murmur to be their best album, but the only song I know off of Murmur is Radio Free Europe. Right. And so I went through their singles list, because I mostly know R.E.M. from the singles, and kind of realized that like they're one of these bands that puts out like one or two really good songs on like every other album.
Yeah.
They're not like one of these bands that like
cranking out the bangers.
Like, yeah, some bands like, you know, we talked about like Van Halen or Guns N' Roses, where we're like,
hit
oh wow,
factories.
this album has all the songs that I know. So apparently I don't know any songs off of any other albums.
Right.
You know?
But you also kind of have to think about, I mean, the kind of scene that R.E.M. existed in, where like alternative, when alternative wasn't really huge on the radio. So,
right.
I mean, I think they cut their teeth and paid their dues long before they had big hit commercial success. I think Into the World was like their big one, and that was like, they could have been a one-hit wonder maybe. I can't think of anything else that would have been considered a hit from them until well after that.
End of the World as We Know It actually came out after The One I Love, and interestingly enough, End of the World as We Know It apparently was not,
or maybe I'm wrong,
like
then.
a big hit, was not a big hit for them.
Huh.
Obviously, like I agree, like that's the song that like that it feels like everybody knows, but at least as far as chart performance goes, it was not even a. It was a.
Here's the thing. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult for me to really place what was and wasn't like popular for them, because it's so just like the sound of R.E.M. and so much of their catalog is just part of what I was listening to when I was coming of age. So to me, it's really hard for me to separate their music from the reality of what it is and the reality of what might have been going on. It makes it kind of hard to review this, because I listen to it and it just sounds like, you know, my teen years. Like, it just sounds like the 90s to me. It doesn't sound, it's hard for me to listen to this and like judge it, which is the worst place to be if you're going to, you know, criticize or review an album or something like that. I mean, I was listening through it and like, oh, there's a handful of songs in here that they could have left off the album. They're not very strong. But then the rest of them, like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I expect out of R.E.M. and it sounds exactly what I expect out of them. And, you know, because of the time I was came of age in, like, it connects with me to my core, you know?
There's definitely some, like, in the era hallmarks.
Like, I think you could make a case that a lot of the bands... I think you could make the case that a lot of the bands I was listening to in the 90s that were big in the 90s were not good. But because of the, you know, that's what you grow up with and that's what is pumped into your head during a very important time in your life, like, it just becomes part of your DNA. So I think it's just too hard for me to, like, sit here and critically analyze R.E.M. the way they probably could be critically analyzed, and someone could point out, you know, whatever is not great about their songwriting or their production or whatever, maybe Michael Stipe's singing or something like that. Because I think that's a note that I made. I wrote, Stipe's voice is probably an acquired taste for people outside my generation, but to me it sounds like the 90s. Like, hold on.
Can you repeat that?
Go ahead.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You there?
Okay, can you repeat everything you just said? Because literally, it was a point that I wanted to hear you make, and then you broke up.
Okay, I said Stipe's voice is probably an acquired taste for people outside my generation, but to me it sounds like the 90s, and it could be something similar to like how I hear, you know, early 2000s emo screamo type stuff, and it just drives me up the wall. And maybe people today listen to R.E.M. and they're like, I can't stand this.
So that's kind of, so do you like Michael Stipe's vocal?
It's not, I don't like sit there and think like, oh man, I really wish I could hear Michael Stipe right now. But when I listen to it, it sounds fine to me. Like, I don't have any criticism of it, because it's just like, that's what music sounds like to the teenager that lives inside my brain, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, there's something, I kind of made a couple notes about his vocals throughout this album. There's something about his voice that sounds like home musically. Okay. Where it's like, it's just comfortable.
Sure.
Like my note on the second track was Try Not to Breathe. The track Try Not to Breathe. I said, another easy listener. And I just wrote, I think I just like Michael Stipe. Like, because I was like, this song has like, opens with like this 12-string guitar or chorus heavy guitar or whatever. And I'm kind of like, oh, this is an easy listening 90s. It's everything I hate about Tom Petty, but Michael Stipe is singing, so it's going to be okay.
Yeah. What's your hot take on the one song, Everyone Hurts?
I did not like it in the context of the album.
Interesting.
I liked the song. I said, this is a classic. It's a good song. It just felt really jarring where it was placed in the album. And I don't know if there's a fix to that. Yeah. It's just like, I think because up to that point, everything is pretty like guitar driven 90s, you know, like you said, it's 90s, late 80s, 90s, this kind of like Americana folk rock thing. And then you got this like, let's slow it all down in piano jam. And even after that, it goes into New Orleans instrumental number 1, which has this really cool crosstalk between what I think is an electric piano and some very like proto post-rock guitar work. Like it's just very comfortable.
Yeah.
But Everybody Hurts just like, it feels like the inescapable sad scene in every rom-com.
Yeah, I guess.
And I understand that's what makes that song great, and that's what makes that song timeless. But that's also why I'm like, I don't really want to listen to this song right now.
My note was, I don't care what anyone says, Everyone Hurts is a good song. Like when it started playing, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here and try to be critical of this. I'm going to try to really like take myself out of it and see if this song actually still holds up and it's not just, me liking this song. And as it kept going, I'm like, no, I think this is a great song. I really like just the mood of it. I like the production of it. Even for, so much of R.E.M. songs are this very 90s free association style writing where it's like, oh, just find, a word that rhymes and sounds kind of edgy and throw it in there. And it doesn't matter if, the next 5 sentences make sense or not because it's the 90s and we're weird. Lollapalooza, here we go. Where Everyone Hurts, like all the lyrics feel very intentional. And I think it's a very well planned out and thought out song. And like, I think if they were ever going to have a one hit wonder sort of scenario, I think that would have been a great one for them. I mean,
yeah,
clearly
sure.
they're not a one hit wonder. They have a ton of hits, but I feel strongly that that's a good song.
Did you have any other?
And screw the rest. Screw how it sits in the rest of the album. I don't care how it sits in the rest of the album. There's like 5 songs on the album that could just be thrown in the trash because they actually aren't, anything. They're just like, oh, this sounds like it was, a Sketchpad song, and they needed to round out the album because it was also the 90s, and they were trying to have 12 to 13 songs on an album then,
right?
Versus now when everything's basically a single. But people used to buy albums because they were trying to get the best bang for the buck. I'm like, oh, this one's got 18 tracks. I'll get the one with 18 instead of the one with 14.
Yeah. Did you have any notes on Sweetness Follows, track 6?
No, I don't.
So my note on that one was if you take the organ out of it, I said I kind of want to see I kind of want to pull the organ out of this. It has like that very like 90s blues rock organ over the whole thing where they're just playing like one, like basically like just one note that's like slides from pitch to pitch for the entire song.
Right.
That was really common. And I said, but I want to pull the organ out of this and see how much of the remaining drones just sound like Pepper.
Oh man.
Cause cause the whole back part is like, and I was like, yeah, is this Pepper? Did you have any?
You're talking about Pepper from Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
For a second, I thought you meant Pepper, the dub reggae band.
No, I mean like the song Pepper.
Right. I don't mind the sun sometimes. That song.
Exactly.
The song that's just in G and has no other chords.
Yeah. Did you have anything on?
No, I don't. Whatever it is, I don't.
You don't have anything on Man on the Moon?
Oh, no. I mean, that's probably just the one that most people are going to recognize the same way most people are going to recognize, Stacy's mom from Fountains of Wayne, just because it got attached to a movie. I mean, it's
I just wrote song. Hi, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
My note was just, hi, Jim Carrey.
Hi, Jim.
And then the track after that is Night Swimming, and I don't know why, but Night Swimming is like, what, at least as far as, again, just all based on singles, Night Swimming is like one of my favorite R.E.M. songs.
I could see that.
And I don't know a ton about R.E.M. and I don't know why that's one of my favorite songs because I only know it from the radio.
Yeah.
But at some point, in some context that I don't remember, at some age that I don't remember, I heard that song and I was like, wow. That was the song that I think actually took me from being like, R.E.M. is, Losing My Religion.
Right.
And Everybody Hurts and End of the World as We Know It to being like,
I forgot about Losing My Religion.
These guys, like, there's something going on here. Like Night Swimming was like just on a whole other level for me. that I just, I don't know. This was an album I think
I wasn't expecting to
don't-
catch so many feels from talking about R.E.M. I was expecting to be kind of, critical in retrospect and be like, oh, well, maybe this thing from my childhood isn't that great. But now that I'm thinking about all their songs, I'm like, damn, I really like R.E.M. more than I thought I did.
Yeah, this is definitely an album that I will come back to at some point. I think I've listened through. Gosh, I don't actually even know. I know I've listened. I think maybe I've listened to Green.
What's the one that
haven't really.
What's the Frequency Kenneth on it? I owned that album.
What's the Frequency Kenneth?
You don't know that song? It's an earlier R.E.M. album.
I don't. That's actually the name of the song. Good grief! That is from the album Monster, which actually came after this.
Yeah. Did it actually come after it? That's wild.
Yeah. And that's always the problem. Like you talked about the buying albums to get the songs that you know. And that was always actually a problem I had with R.E.M. as a kid, because I'd go to the store and I'd pull out Document and be like, okay, I know the one I love. I know End of the World. Green at the time, I don't think I knew any of the songs off Green, but that's the album that has Orange Crush on it and Stand.
Orange
Pop
Crush
Song
is a great
89.
song. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of Time has Losing My Religion, but it also has Shiny Happy People, which I kind of hate. and then by the time you get to Monster, it's just kind of in a space where I don't think I know, like, I don't really know much else out of their discography, their track history past that.
Their Superman song? I like that song. I am Superman, and I know what's happening. Do you know that song?
I know that song, but only because
I just sang it.
The Scrubs soundtrack.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't even know if I knew that was R.E.M.
Yeah, that's R.E.M. I'm pretty
Are you
sure
that's R.E.M.?
I'm pretty sure that's R.E.M. It sounds like R.E.M. No, that's R.E.M.
Apparently it's from the band. This says it's by the band Laszlo Bane.
What? That's not R.E.M.? There's like a bunch of Superman songs from different bands. Are you sure that's not an R.E.M.?
Oh man.
I'm gonna do my own
Hold
search.
on.
I just searched for R.E.M. Superman and it came up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no, that is a different song.
Yeah, R.E.M. Superman. You're thinking of a different song, man.
What album was that on? That is on Life's Rich Pageant from 1986.
Yeah. All right,
Can you hear it off?
Let's tackle this last. You want to do
I'll
housekeeping?
just stop it. Let me. What's that?
You want to do some housekeeping?
I think that's all I got for this. Oh yeah, let's do some housekeeping. Apparently I missed this previously, so again, if I missed you and you feel like you should have been called, by all means hit me up. It's a little chaotic trying to keep up with everything right now. But so first, at the $10 level, I'd like to welcome Andrew Encinas.
Andrew,
for
is what you said?
Supporting us. Andrew Encinas. We have one. You got something for him?
Yeah, let me see what I can wrangle up here. I have got to drop off all these bags at your house this week. I'm going to give him
we gotta figure it out.
some of these K-Line pedal topper button things. I'm actually getting kind of thin in here. I've got this pick sticky holder thing I'll throw in there. Another Hosa keychain. Oh, here we go. This is nice, a chicken pick. People like those
chicken
things.
picks.
And another nice pick. These are just gonna be floating around this bag. I've got this Ibanez JTC acrylic pick I'll throw in there. So this guy's gonna get to try out some cool picks. And I'll throw in one of these 9-volt to 9-volt battery adapters because I've got a billion of those.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is going to get one of those for a while. thanks to all those Azor pedals. So I've got about like 7 bags here at the floor that I need to drop off to you so you can ship them out. I'll try to get them to you sometime this week.
All right, that sounds like a thing that we can do.
Yeah, and then you said we have a $1?
Yeah. Oh, so also at the $10 level, do you have 2? You got another bag?
No, but I didn't know there was going to be another one, and I think I'm out of stuff. So you want to save it for next one, and I'll try to wrangle some more stuff?
Yeah. Let me put it on the next one.
Yeah, sorry, next person, but you could either be called out right now or you could get stuff. So I think you want to wait for stuff,
if you have like, if you've got some lean, now it just sounds like I'm talking about drugs.
Yeah,
I've got a mono strap I can throw in.
If you want, sure. I just don't have a bag like here to mark. If
you got, I don't know if you have anything else though. The mono strap is just one thing.
Let's wait a week. Let's wait a week for this person. I'll try to find something. I'll try to find something good here in the garage. There's got to be something.
Let me just finish making this note. And at the $1 level, we've also got Steve Travelby and Craig Doibler, I believe is the pronunciation. So thanks, guys, for supporting us at the $1 level. Whether it's the $1 level, the $5 level, or the pick your own level, or the $10 level, or the $25 level, or the $26 level, or the $50 level, or the $5,000 level.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone who supports the show. Everything that goes in here goes to keeping the show running. It helps, Ryan pick up stuff for future videos. It helps us justify our existences to our family members.
Yeah.
It does all kinds of things to support the show. And, when we go on, which unfortunately it's weird to talk about trips this year, but in the past, it's helped us go on trips. And, a lot of times we get those trips in one way or another, handled by, maybe we get like, travel cover costs in terms of flights or whatever, but we're still trying to cover
meals,
food on the ground and stuff and things like that. So we definitely appreciate everything that you guys send us to support the show through the Patreon. Check out the link in the notes.
Recently used Patreon money to buy a new camera, which has dramatically improved the quality of our footage for the show and for the rest of the demo stuff that I do, all the video content that I do. And it was not like a crazy indulgent camera. It's like a $700 camera. It was just, as far as cameras go, is really cheap. But man, it's made all the difference. We upgraded from a camera that I bought for like $200. So, Patreons make that sort of thing possible. It brought us up into 2020 as far as cameras go instead of 2011, which is where I was stuck.
Yeah.
So that was pretty nice. It was nice for the workflow over here. So anyways, let's talk about this last ad and get out of here.
Yeah, this last ad was sent by Chris Pop Beerman. That is his Christian name. And this is a Danelectro, what do they call it? It's a talk box, Danelectro free speech. He said, this was one of those impulse buys that went horribly wrong. This is on Reverb. I read the reviews and thought maybe these clowns are just using it wrong. Surely I can make this work with my already elaborate setup. Then I watched a YouTube video of some lad with less hair than I do lashing out a fairly decent Daft Punk Around the World impression. And I thought, with the last M ever pitched so slightly upward, so I hope I captured that correctly.
I think that's what he was trying to do. One of those.
I felt like, is that slightly? Okay, I don't know. Brought it home, set it up, turned it on, got my imaginary Bon Jovi denim jacket out of the closet, patches intact, and bashed out a power chord on my Jazzmaster, ready to take a journey back through time and space. If you want to take a journey back through time and space, you got to listen to that Will Smith song from Men in Black 3, just saying. I can best describe what followed as confusion. Surely I was doing it wrong. After some research, I realized I was doing it right and the pedal was just horse shit and was working exactly the way it was made to work. Very uncomfortable experience. Works exactly like it should, barely usable, certainly ungiggable, only really suitable for use in a very controlled environment. And as for incorporating this into a pedal board / stacking with other pedals, Well, I didn't get that far, but I suspect it would be a one tone-sucking hassle. You might be wondering how I expect to sell it with such a glowing review. Life has taught me that there's always an idiot out there who will see something unique, like this very reasonably priced, and take a punt naively thinking, I can make this work. No, you can't. Be warned. I was that idiot a few weeks ago, and now it's someone else's turn. Comes with a battered box with tube mic, all the bits. This is sold as is for $50 and some change on Reverb.
Of all the things,
and on the picture it says no Danelectro, just no.
Of all the things I can think of in the world that you should not sell used, especially now in this climate, a talk box is pretty bad. Like, oh, who wants to buy my used Spit Collection pedal with the giant clear tube that I jam halfway down my throat to make talky sounds? I used a talk box at the first Toman trip. And,
really?
It was Jay Leonard. Jay pulled me into it. He's like, hey, come do these videos with me. I don't know why they didn't send me home with the talk box that I use, because I got my spit all over that thing. It is kind of gross to use a talk box. It becomes your personal, private, forever possession. You should never resell a talk box to anyone. Like if you don't like your talk box, just throw it away.
I'd like to think Jay Leonard J took your used talk box home with him.
He probably did. That was his grift. He's like, I'm going to do a video where I try all the talk boxes, and then Toman's going to send them all home with me. But
here's the real problem. This guy's selling a talk box. His store name on Reverb is The Lotion Basket.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Yikes.
Well, I don't want to get the hose again, so just put this in the basket. Have you ever heard the song based on that line? There's a song by the Greenskeepers that's just completely themed after Silence of the Lambs, and it's very creepy, but also kind of wonderful and lighthearted. So I'd say go listen to that song right now. I have a blast every time I hear it. But I've always heard that this pedal is hot garbage, like just terrible. I have no experience with it. I don't wish to have experience with it. But talk boxes are already kind of a complicated setup because it's a tube that goes to your mouth, and at one end of the tube, there's a speaker inside the pedal that is blowing the vibrations of your guitar signal up through the tube. Then you put the tube in your mouth, and it blows that sound into your mouth, and then you form vowel sounds with your mouth. And those vowel sounds leave your mouth and get picked up by an external microphone. And then depending on the product, go back to the pedal or go to an amp or however you have it set up. In the case of this pedal, there's a mic connected to the tube that goes back to the pedal. It's just a really complicated setup to get a sound that's kind of one of those things where it's only kind of worked a couple times in pop music history. And the rest of the time is like you're either covering those songs or you're kind of just being annoying, in my opinion. Like,
right.
I can't see myself ever going, you know what I need? You know what's going to really round out my rig is a talk box right now. It's just such a specific thing. And I don't want to have that much cleanup associated with my rig either.
Oh my gosh. It just means every once in a while you gotta like run some vinegar through it or something.
Yeah, throw it in the dishwasher and boil it. I don't know. I'm sure you can buy replacement tubing at just Home Depot.
Oh yeah.
Not for this one though, because this one, the Danelectro has a proprietary tube with a mic cable going through it or something like that. So that's extra gross. I don't know. I agree with this person. Don't buy one, no matter how curious you are. If you are talkback curious, go watch the video that Jay Leonard J did with me at the first Toman. I think we found one that was pretty good in that lineup. So go revisit that and figure out which one of those you want. Is my vote. All right, you want to tell us about the song, Steve, and get us out of here?
Yeah, man. This song was sent by Oh, I have the email open right here. I'm like looking around on my computer, like, where is this? This was sent by Nick Harshaw.
It's
He says,
in the computer.
I know. Friends, here's a little catchy song I made with my buddy who also plays guitar. He did drums. I did guitar, synth, and bass. Equipment was a MIJ Fender Mustang, an 80s Charvel bass with active pickups, Logic Pro X MIDI drums, and my fingers. I recently also made a song for an intro to another podcast I listened to. So he's promoting a podcast called Subject to Cross. And he sent this in a couple different formats. So whatever format you want to use, Ryan, go for it.
Sure.
He says, if you like what you hear, you can find me on Spotify, iTunes, Napster, LimeWire, and more by my regular old name, Nick Harshaw. So I will find a link to this and post it to something if you like it. This song is just called Sketch 01.26.20 version 2.
That's a catchy name. I can't wait to hear the hook in this song.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone. Stay grounded.
See ya.
All right.